All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Ops Unfiltered. Today, we have a guest just down the street in Provo, Utah.
That's right.
Brice Douglas from Zamo.
Great to see you, Jared.
Yeah, it's good to see you. We've interacted with each other quite a bit, actually. First off, tell us a little about you. Are you a BYU dropout like me?
I am. Yeah, we have that in common. Kind of the story of Zamo is it was three hackers at BYU. We met at a hackathon, building some random stuff. We ended up winning. It was a trip to Italy over the summer that we won.
Oh, wow.
And through that process, became really good friends and found a couple of problems we thought would be good at solving, which led us to Zamo.
Okay, so three people. You and who are the other two co-founders?
So we have Santi and Danny are my two co-founders, and they are both technical, great crack engineers. And I'm just kind of the guy who talks. I don't know how useful I am.
Well, are you technical at all?
No, I mean I can have a conversation, but I'm mostly sales and ops and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Well, you're the co-founder who's going to have to be doing everything else, the onboarding, the sales, the finance stuff.
Exactly.
Are you involved with fundraising at all?
Yes. So we closed a little under 2 million in the last year in a kind of a seed round through Y Combinator and others.
My first question, actually, I'm really curious about this. For those of the people who are watching that don't know what Y Combinator is, it's like statistically harder to get into Y Combinator than it is to like Harvard.
What they say.
What is Y Combinator, and why did they choose you, do you think?
I mean, it's a venture firm. They have a slightly different model. They were kind of the first to go about and do the incubator model. So if you think some of the early founders was like Airbnb, Dropbox, Reddit, some of those that kind of took off, Coinbase. And even here in Utah, I know Weave and Podium both came out of Y Combinator as well.
Ah, I didn't know that.
So they take you pre-product. They kind of bet more on people than ideas is their thesis. And because Paul Graham and some of these other amazing partners they've taken on feel like they know a lot about startups, they kind of guide you through the first step, give you some cash, and send you on your merry way.
So what is the biggest assumption that you had challenged while going through Y Combinator? In other words, you thought startups or your role was supposed to be this way, but it's like, oh wow, I was way off.
The big takeaway was this is not like something you do for a couple of years and like sell it off and you kind of just did your thing. It was this kind of long-term mindset of this probably won't do anything for the first year or two or three. And as long as you stay at it, I think I kind of got the confidence too, where if you're smart enough, you have a little bit of capital just to keep you going for a few years with a small team, you'll probably find like your way to the product market fit.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I feel like that was something that I learned as well. And I've watched so many companies get founded and then the founders just fizzle out after a couple of years. And it's always because they think like, yeah, I want to be a billionaire in the next 3 years or 5 years. It's like, dude, this is something me and my co-founder Brendan always say is like, we're in this for the next minimum 10 years. Uh-huh. Like I don't know where the fuck that mindset came from, but yeah, that's something that I had to get out of myself too. Like, we're not going to exit this thing in 3 years. This is like 10 years minimum. Well, that's cool. What has changed in some of your decision making by now thinking like with a 10-year time horizon instead of like 2 or 3?
I mean, this might be counterintuitive, but part of it's just like being okay with the short-term mistakes. I think when you're in there, I'm less worried about immediate outcomes and more about, are we solving this like long-term deep problem? Mm-hmm. And I just have the, whatever you call it, like faith or expectation that if you're doing that one thing that is the main important thing, the rest kind of falls into place.
Okay, well, you brought up the magical word, the problem. So, Brice, what is the problem that you're solving right now?
It's really interesting. Most people don't see it as a problem, but email marketing is a way to almost treat like a notification. Like you send someone an announcement. And what we do is we kind of change the email, the way it works. Instead of being a notification, is now a landing page where you can complete XYZ action without leaving.
Email marketing is sort of antiquated. It's just these static emails with images, not super interactable. So like this is my understanding. Mm-hmm. Like, let me know if I'm correct. You have like Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, like all of these front end purchasing softwares essentially, or points of sale. And they've created these amazing interactive purchasing experiences. But email, and especially email marketing, has stayed sort of just like, it's just like this page that you scroll through. So Zamo essentially gives you the same experience as like a Shopify almost.
Right. And so what we do is we build little widgets or modules that connect to everything in your software. So if you have like a reviews app or a subscription app or a forms app, we built an email front end for that so that your customers can then interact with that app in the email without leaving. And then we kind of send all those responses back to your app.
You're superpowering your emails. You're making them like an actual like revenue generating machine. I mean, email marketing already is a revenue generating machine, but this like really puts it on par with like a Shopify or your subscription app. Or
I mean, I would argue a little bit with that email is a revenue generating. I think Klaviyo is really good at claiming a 5-day attribution window to any email that was sent or even opened by a bot. And so it gets these big numbers, but really like anyone you talk to is like, I know we're just kind of driving awareness or bringing people to the page, and then they might convert at some point of that. Like there's a lot of this halo effect of capturing. But with us, I mean, if you click buy now in the email and it purchases it, that is now like an actual conversion instead of awareness.
Yeah, so it takes emails now in an e-commerce company's like their marketing landscape. It's an awareness or it's just another touch point. Zamo makes it an actual purchasing experience.
Right. And then you can plug in purchasing experience for X.
As a former brand founder and somebody who did email marketing, like I don't understand why somebody wouldn't use Zamo. I really mean that. Like, is it like crazy expensive or?
No, we're actually probably too affordable right now. So I mean,
so it's perfect time to get on right now.
You get on the train right now, you'll get locked into some good pricing.
Okay.
there isn't much of a reason not to. I mean, our conversion rate on demo calls, transparently, is just like really high. I'd say maybe 2 months or 3 months ago, that wasn't the case. We were still figuring out the software.
Okay.
It's a really hard technical problem to crack. But we've come over that hump, and now you kind of you'll see us putting a lot of hiring ads or kind of pushing more marketing to kind of go tell people about this in kind of an evangelicalistic way.
That's cool. So what impact do you make with brands?
So number one,
can you quantify it?
Yeah, the easiest to attribute is kind of those transactions. So if you think about it, this doesn't work with everybody, but if you have a credit card on file, which if you're on Shopify, it probably means you're a subscription app like company. If you have a credit card on file for those people, you can now one-click upsell them and add something to their upcoming order, or you can make a change there. And because it's being done in one click within our ecosystem, we can track that perfectly, and you just have a really clear ROI number there from that.
Wait, so a one-click upsell process, it's just charging their card on file? I mean, that seems like almost like not illegal, like so this is too good to be true for a brand. Like
it's something you can already do with like recharge quick links, and they've tried to make it okay. Like some people have gotten rid of like passwordless logins to your portal. They'll have like a link that takes you to another landing page, and on that landing page you choose your order and then you confirm. So that's already there. Really what we're doing is just a UX change where instead of adding all this friction, these steps, how about you just do it right there? And it is almost too easy. So we do have, an undo button next to most of those. But that first click, it puts you on like a 2-minute window before it actually sends anything. But there, like it's going through.
I mean, that literally sounds like a dream for a brand. Like all you care about is the conversion rates and your upsell rates, and also it's so hard to attribute things. Like
it is. That's the worst with email marketing too. Is attribution is the worst.
That's incredible. So, why are you passionate about solving this problem?
So, I mean, to be honest, just first of all, I love building software. I mean, it's just really fun to make something that actually makes a difference, which I think led into, we had an 18-month process or maybe about a year, where we actually just did consulting before we wrote any software code.
Oh, no way.
So we started this company in August of 2022, and it wasn't until this February that we actually launched our app. So everything between that was talking to brands, trying out different solutions as a one-off. Like we would go and say, hey, what template do you have that means the most to you? Can we just go rewrite it for you? And then we would see the results. And the first 30 did not work the way we thought they would. And eventually we got to the place where, okay, maybe abandoned carts aren't actually that sexy when you can do stuff.
Back up a little bit. So explain, what do you mean the first 30 didn't work out how you thought they would? What were you doing and how was it supposed to work out?
Yeah, so if you look at your Klaviyo setup, where are you making the most repeatable revenue, at least from Klaviyo's standpoint? Probably your abandoned cart flow. It's probably making 10% of your total revenue if you look at the way Klaviyo attributes. And so we thought, hey, if we go there and we make it interactive, then we can increase that percentage of sales. Pretty straightforward thesis. We tried that probably 20 brands before we gave up. And it was, can we add an image carousel, and can you change the variant in the email before we then go like click through to the final transaction page? And at the end of the day, it did like jack squat. It was nothing.
Interesting.
So it was like testing out these different theses and hoping they would work with, it kind of made a lot of sense. But in the end, looking at the data and deciding, you know what, that's actually not useful for these brands. We have to cut that and find what actually does work.
How did you find out what actually did work? What specifically did?
Yeah, we kept going that same way. Now, instead of spending, we messed up. We did 10 months on like one solution until we were 100% sure it didn't work. We were a little bit more like, okay, let's go try this a couple of times, this, and this. And so you'd see us collect reviews in the email, send it back to Yotpo, collect forum responses in the email, do this subscription, one-click purchasing. And those we'd just A/B test with every brand. What are the results? Let's see, like, honestly, what's the truth here? And as we got more and more closer to the truth, it was, okay, you're making a 20% lift. Oh, but in reviews, you can make a 40% lift. In upsells, we can actually get you 90% more upsells than your current. And after getting some case studies and some happy customers and really being really skeptical ourselves of every result we saw, I think that helped us get to something that was more honest and real.
Oh, that's really cool. So the building out Zamo was very much a data-driven decision.
Very iterative and very data-driven. And, a lot of learning across the way. We were 3 dropouts from college. If someone could have probably pulled this off a little quicker at the beginning, but now we're the world experts in email marketing, and there's not really any competition.
Oh,
there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a cool story. What did your family think of you dropping out of college? Like, what did you sacrifice to do Zamo?
Yeah. I mean, you should talk to some of my other co-founders. As a quick aside, like my Santiago, he's from Argentina. He was on a student visa. On a student visa, you can't have work outside of school. And it's kind of scary to give up, like kind of push the limits of this. Can you drop out and like lose your visa status and all this kind of stuff? So for him, it was a really big deal. And we ended up in the last like month or two, we got him an O1 visa, which is like an extraordinary entrepreneur visa. And so that's fixed. And I don't think he told his parents he dropped out until like a year after he actually did.
Wow.
Like he even told them Y Combinator was just like a school trip. But for me, the process was, we built this while we were in school. We got to the summer in between before my senior year. And I said, if we can raise a pre-seed round, that kind of de-risks everything for me.
Yeah.
And so we went at it, raised some money. We didn't.
What year was this again?
This was last summer.
Oh, wow. So freaking recent.
Yeah. Like
this was actually after the circus, after the valuations had gone way down.
Right.
So why do you think you guys were successful fundraising? Like speaking as somebody who's fundraised at these different stages, it's harder to fundraise right now. You have to have some real results. So
well, yeah, and if you're 23 and don't have much behind you, it's pretty tough. We had some really good early angel investors that believed in us, and I think once you get the first couple of checks, it dominoes. Now it was like a 4, 5, 6 month process, and that we raised like $700K as our pre-seed.
Okay.
And then we went to Y Combinator, and one of the benefits of Y Combinator is you have this branding thing where you get really easy access to capital.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't
really
build
cool.
your business for you, but at least de-risks your seed round. You can probably raise a seed round.
Yeah. No, 100%. What did your parents think of you dropping out?
They were very.
I think you're
supportive.
young enough for me to ask that.
Yeah. They were very supportive. I think I learned a lot, especially from my dad recently got an MBA. Because he wanted to kind of explore some other stuff and get more access. And so seeing me go through this process was kind of fun, I think, for my parents. And at the same time, it's pretty logical. I mean, this isn't the reason I'm doing this, but if you drop out and raise a seed round and get X amount of revenue, I mean, your resume looks a little better than, hi, I graduated from the Marriott School of Business.
Yeah.
So the downside's
Big
actually
time.
not that high. I don't think I gave up that much, to be honest.
Interesting. No, I like that. If there was a case study that you could plaster on your website, or that you could say in this podcast, what customer have you had the biggest impact on?
So unfortunately, some of the best ones, we can't talk about them too much.
Oh,
But
okay. No worries.
I think we'll change that a little bit. I'll talk about 2. One is a brand called Naked Nutrition. And I'll use them as kind of, if you're a supplements or nutrition brand, we can make a very big difference. So we take them, and the first thing they do is add cross sells to it, and we double the amount of cross sells they have. So
what's a cross sell for those people who don't understand?
So if you have a subscription one item, it's just adding something else, a different item. So if you're a supplement brand, if someone's bought your protein powder, it's very likely there's a good chance they'll try your creatine or something like that. So for this kind of brand, we can go and say, hey, you're like a great customer. We'll give you 15% off to try our creatine. By the way, it's only one click. It's right in your email inbox on your phone. It's like a really easy decision to make, and it comes in your next box.
What categories or industries? So in software, we call it ICP.
Mm-hmm.
What is your ICP where you're, oh my God, if you're a supplement brand that does subscriptions, that does this revenue, we guaranteed we can help you. What is that?
I think you just said it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Supplements brand with subscriptions, I guarantee you will probably at least 50% increase your cross sells. And we have more features there. That was like number one. You can upsell someone to a bundle in one click from one item.
Have you guys stopped to Mountain Ops?
No.
Oh, we should introduce you.
We should have a chat.
Seriously, like I'll intro you to, like I said, Zamo sounds like such a no-brainer. You guys are early on, but you're past the. I mean, you're still iterating tech, but like it works.
Yeah, we
so
passed
like,
the buggy. Thank you so much for trying us
yeah.
at this stage.
It's still relatively cheap though, like relative to the value that it'll bring. So, oh my God, anybody who can like get in early. So, what are you looking forward to most? Like, what's the end goal for you and your co-founders? What do you want to do?
Wow, there's so many ways to take this. I mean, this just gets more nerdy in email marketing side, but I think there's just a huge horizontal play here where we just make it so accessible for the average marketer to have high converting content. If you look at our beginning stage, it was my co-founder Santiago was a product manager at Turing.com, which is a B2B software company, not e-commerce.
Yeah.
And he, right when this framework for Gmail came out to allow interactive emails, he was one of the first people at that company to ever try it in the world. And they 3x'd their forum response rate, which is like nice. It was very valuable. It's forums, which for most people, like I'm not going to drop that much money on forum response rate. But for that company, it's sending 3 million of these a month. Like it was worth them paying 6 engineers to build this out in-house. So Santi was a product manager managing that product. It worked. He came out of this and said, wow, like this, they spent a lot of money. It was valuable. No one else has access to this. Let's go open it up and make it no code for everybody.
Oh, I 100% agree. Even in Luminous, something that we're really passionate about, we embed content into. So we've been so curious about how embedding content into the sales process will actually increase our conversion rates. Obviously, it's totally different. We're selling an ERP, so it's like multi-touch. You can't really do much. But so instead of even having just like a super bland sales deck that everybody just sends out, like we've been really curious about like what is the content that somebody watches that actually makes them convert.
Interesting.
Even on the B2B side, I totally agree with you. There's so many different parts of a buying process that can be disrupted, and email seems to be that's. Yeah, you guys are gonna blow up in the next 5 years, like almost guaranteed, unless somebody gets ahead of you guys somehow.
They won't.
How do you? Actually, that's a great question. How do you think about that? I think a great comparison. They're not that comparative of a product, but I do see it as maybe something similar. If you think about Route, like
right.
Order protection, where like you get the castle and you have to build the moat around it. Oh my God. I mean, they're shipping insurance providers. There's a new one every week.
Right.
Obviously this is much more technically
like a snippet into the front end of your store.
Yeah. So like how do you see that? How do you view that?
So luckily, one of the reasons it took us 18 months to get anything in value out the door is this is a very technical problem that not even Klaviyo wants to touch. So if you think about it, there are between 3 and like 7 different emails inbox providers that you have. So I like use Gmail on my phone. My wife uses Apple Mail. My grandparents use Hotmail. And then there's all these other small ones that pop up.
Well, then also the subscription apps and the reviews and like
yeah. So those are important integrations. But on the email inbox side, the tough part is they all treat email code differently. And so if you're an email marketer, what you do is you design for the lowest common denominator, which is Outlook. And it means you can use text and images. Now, if you dig deep into it, Gmail has some framework that you go a little further. Apple Mail has some framework. These others kind of have something like that. And so all we did is just take these, we pushed the bounds of what people thought was possible, and then we bring these different frameworks into one single drag and drop piece, and we bake the 4 different emails into the single template for you. So it's actually a very complex problem where even our head-to-head competitors, like I'll even tell you who they are, there's kind of small, but Spellbound is one. who tries to do the same thing. You just can't send your interactive emails to Apple Mail, which is where 55% of emails are opened. So we're the only ones in the world that can pull it off because it's just so technical and difficult to do.
What I would say is, I think what you could learn from Route, if I
Please
interject with my opinion, where I think Route went wrong was they stopped making the merchant the hero. They started doing big parties, and like they wanted to be the cool brand, and like at the end of the day, they were just a plug-in for a cart. They caught lightning in a bottle, but I feel like as long as your brand is making the merchant the hero, and you stay curious about that, you won't lose.
I like that.
When I think back to my pre-seed, way back a year or 2 years ago. No, but seriously, actually, when I think back to like our pre-seed days, like the early days of Luminous, man, there were some crazy times, like the shit that I had to do to keep customers happy. What about you guys? Is there any memory that pops up that's like, yeah, we did this? Like, I don't know, you pulled a 48-hour shift or something? Or
Absolutely, yeah. I'd say early on when we were in that testing phase, we would get a deck and make a Figma mockup and say, we do this. Can we have it for you this week? And we weren't even sure if it would work. As soon as we got a yes, it was like, okay, here's the design. We're coding this. There's a million problems. We'll get it live, ship it. I mean, it might not have worked as soon as it was live, but by the time it, got to the 100th customer, like the 100th person send it out, it was working. We still like to sell first and then design and then build. Although I think we're a lot more transparent about it now. We're like, hey, this is something that's not built yet, but would you like us to build it for you?
Oh God.
Whereas I think early on it was very much, oh, we do this all the time.
Yeah.
It works.
That's so similar to Luminous. We're the exact same. Like I think we're far enough along where we can't really do that anymore. But man, there's like a bone in entrepreneurs that allow us to do something like that. There's so many people they won't commit to anything. It's bold.
There's a line. You don't want to be dishonest, but you want to say like, hey, I really believe we can do this for you. Let's pull it off.
Yeah, exactly. What about your best memory starting Zamo? Anything stick out to you? Like when your pre-seed seed round's closed, or?
I think it's with my co-founders, and we've become really good friends. Just, I think moments when we decided to go all in, things like that. So we started this as kind of a side project while in school, and it was a slow and sure process. But like there was a point where one of us decided, hey, I think we can actually pull this off, and maybe we should drop out. And very heated, tough conversations at that point. But I don't know if there's a single point in time, but that process of becoming unified into we want to do this was very special. And we kind of have a bond from that for sure.
That's awesome. I always go to Y Combinator content when it comes to how we handle team and culture and co-founder relations. It's difficult to have co-founders. It totally is. But it's also amazing. I've had co-founders that didn't end up working out. Some amicable, some not very amicable. Mm-hmm. What do you guys do to keep your relationship strong?
Great question. I mean, there's so much we could do more, I'm sure. But at least knowing that we were friends first is very helpful. So we didn't go all in on this until, like I said, we were spent summer in Italy together. All of us were roommates at some point in college. So we kind of knew what was tough about each other, what was good. And so going in with that thought was very helpful. But today we do things just like making sure we check in. We have daily check-ins that are longer than probably most, where we just, one, talk about what we're doing that day, but two, like, what are the blockers? Is there any frustration going on? I think getting to those early and often is just good for any communication, whether it be a marriage or a co-founder relationship or friendship.
Yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, like, I wish I had followed Y Combinator before I started Lumen. I didn't get really curious about like the interpersonal dynamics between co-founders and like learning from Y Combinator and all of the data that they have until probably I was like 3 years into the company. And like that's honestly my biggest regret. Anybody who's trying to start a company, go consume startup content. Like go consume SaaStr and Y Combinator.
I fell asleep to that stuff every night.
Yeah. It's incredible. I think you'll save yourself a lot of trauma if you just listen to it. If you could offer other potential founders advice before they start the pre-seed, the iterating of the product, what advice would you give to other founders?
I mean, the advice is pretty tried and true. It's make something that people want. I mean, I love that tagline that Y Combinator has. Make something that people want. Everything else is ancillary to that. So if you're not building product or sales, you're probably wasting your time. So I think you get bogged down into what's my company capital structure look like? Or am I a C
What's
corp
our
yet?
what's our core values?
What's
Like,
our mission
dude,
statement?
you haven't built a product yet. Who gives a fuck?
But it takes some. I mean, you have to get rid of some hesitancy if you're going to go out and like sell something that doesn't exist, or go
That's great advice.
build
I like
something
that.
that hasn't been built before. I mean, it's just assume it can be done and then go from there. I think is the most helpful thing that I've learned over time.
It's not for the hesitating soul or the hesitating of heart. You just got to go.
Because most doors are they're not closed doors when you pass them. Like you can go and mess up as many times as you want for most decisions, and if you can do that, then just start messing up before thinking about it.
I'll tell you mine, but favorite Y Combinator piece of content or lesson. I'll start with mine. My favorite from Y Combinator is it is tough. I've watched so much of their stuff. First off, I love Michael Siebel. Incredible. Y Combinator says a version of this over like many different speeches, but like this is something that's been true at Luminous in my experience is like you can fall into the leadership trap at an early stage, which it's like if somebody's been here for 2 months and they haven't made an impact, you don't have the time at an early stage to deliberate whether or not like, oh, could we have better training? Could we have better this? Could we have better that? Like that's for a later stage. If the reality is like pre-seed seed startups, like your first employees, like they got to figure it out. And it just is, if they haven't become irreplaceable after 2 or 3 months, like you have your answer right there.
Yeah, it's a tough truth, but it matters a lot.
I think so many people, I've seen so many other founders, they get caught in this, like, because everybody's going to give you their story, like why they couldn't make an impact. And the reality is, at a young stage, I can't stress this enough, like, if they haven't made an impact, like, sure, maybe you didn't empower them enough. Maybe you're a micromanager. That could be something that, you got to change that. But, I mean, it's the writing's on the wall.
I love that. If I had to choose my best piece of advice, it would be the content. Again, there's lots of versions of this about when to start hiring. I think, again, you get into this like leadership mode where like, oh, I am a company now. I probably should have like a CFO. I need to have all these people to do these things because that's, when I go to Airbnb's website, that's what they have, and I have to be impressive.
Yeah.
But we still haven't hired anybody. Now, I think we actually crossed that line. You're going to start seeing like job posts from Zamo soon.
Let's go. Nice.
We waited a very long time until we were 100% sure that this is the direction we're taking, because any other headcount, even if it's helpful to do certain tasks, just slows you down so much.
Oh, 100%.
And just the nimbleness and the ability to change has kept us light years ahead of some of our competitors that do something differently than that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. What's next for Zamo? As far as gone through a very iterative phase, you've gotten a product that's working, it's past the bug phase. Is it just sell this thing as much as possible, or is it like constrained growth? What do you think?
Somewhere in the middle. Our product is great, but our vision for the future is so big of what it could do, and it's just a sliver of that right now. So we feel a lot of pressure on that side. But for example, something we're doing this week is we're launching a free for life tier for anybody to use, and the reason behind that is not just because we want people to like eventually get paid, but we just want to give this access to everybody. We think there's so much that can be done, and if marketers can just get their hands on it, they can go and tell us what needs to be done next. We like listen to our customers.
I like that.
Yeah. So just get people in the door, listen to what they have to do. I think that idea of changing from emails being a notification to an actual landing page, we haven't scratched the surface of what that means. I think it touches every touch point. Like you kind of change the way you design, the ways you message, the way you actually send and segment your customers when you do any type of marketing. And I think there's still a lot to learn for us on that front.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Where can we find you guys? Like how can somebody follow along the journey of Zamo and what you guys are building?
Go to zamo.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. We'll keep you updated. You can also just book a call with me and I'll probably personally onboard you to Zamo.
Nice. Okay. What about LinkedIn? Can somebody find you on LinkedIn?
Follow me on LinkedIn. I post a lot of content there.
Brice with an I.
And follow Jared with a J.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Anything you want to leave the folks with?
Just keep up the good work. It's hard. Like this time in e-commerce, capital is not as accessible as it used to be. Everyone knows like Meta and other ways of acquiring is tough. Just like hang in there. I think going into just really the basics of marketing and selling is important.
I think it's been like a cheat code, both in SaaS and in D2C. D2C, the way Facebook ads had worked for so long, it was this arbitrage that you could just do and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
You never even had a brand. Same thing with, I would say, with SaaS and fundraising. You could just get away with, like, money was almost free.
Yeah,
you could just
$3 million,
fundraise.
I'll probably do something with it.
Yeah, and I'll get something. Yeah, we'll get something out of it. But like now, business, I think it's just exposed a lot of businesses. Like if you're not good, then you're not around. But with that being said, I think everybody can win if they just build the right way, both on B2B and on direct to consumer. That's it, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.